So for Sprint 8, just work on our stuff. So for, I guess the only thing that I changed from last week that was not related to Connect was I fixed the train collision. So if the object is an OBB, that works now, and I fixed the issue with my iterator not iterating all the way through. So my train stuff works all good now. And yeah, so that's all that stuff is done. As for new stuff, so for Connect work, I started to build a system for the gestures and all that. So I was thinking of how the user would use it. So I created it like an inputable type deal. So you register a game object for a gesture, and then the managers take those gestures, and so I also walk through it. So as for gesture, I don't have anything there yet, but gesture is just a selection of 3 tests. Right now I have the first one working. I'm going to start working on the other 2 for the next week, and then these are related to the other 2, and then just has the use joints, which I'm going to be using for getting the specific joints, but I couldn't figure that out quite yet. So what I have is a gesturable, which is like a new addition to the game object. So it's kind of like an updatable. You can register for a gesture by using the key that you give it, and then it has its call with the key back, so you can figure out which gesture, so you can register for more than one gesture for a specific game object. As for the creation of gestures, I created, since you can make gesture, the user can make a public gesture. So this is like a test one I made, which just has the gesture test 1, and then the joints are the 2 things that are required right now. Those need to be set, and then the user picks what they want to be true or false for, like, the hand is higher than the elbow and the elbow is higher than the shoulder. So the user would create that movement, and then the joints, I need to figure out a way to let the user tell my engine which joints they're using, and then so I can return that and then figure out which ones they're using, so I can get the information for just those joints instead of looping through all of them. So I need to add that in, but otherwise I have that, and then I want to add like a second one with a time that you want in between them, so you could do like a movement from your hand from the right to the left. So it'd be like, when this one's true for a certain amount of time, if the hand comes to the left side, then the gesture marks through is true, instead of just for the first one. So you can create a gesture, and then I have the commands to register and deregister them, and then I have its own broker. And then I have managers for them. So the Connect has its own manager, which is to get the information from Connect, and then the gesture manager is what loads the gestures. So in the load all resources, the user loads a gesture with their gesture they created, and then a name they want to call that gesture, and then that loads it into the gesture manager, so that then when you call it, so when you register that, it goes to the gesture test manager, which then creates single gesture managers for every gesture that you've asked for. So if multiple objects want to know about the same gesture happening, they will both get thrown into a single gesture manager that will just, when the gesture, this will check the gesture, and then when it's true, it'll return the call gesture with the gesture's name to all of the game objects that have been registered for that specific gesture. So, like I said, it's similar to inputable. Right now, I have it working with um, oop, with just it goes through, and I have my household registered for right hand raised, and then it just has its deregistration there, and then at the bottom it has gesture activated, and it just prints right arm raised. So let me just load this really quick so I can actually prove to you that it works, that it's going through and it registers and everything. So doesn't want to. So if it wants to pick up my skeleton, there we go. Obviously when I raise my arm on my right, but my left because I'm facing my computer, it starts printing. So you would use it like an inputable, and then you could start adding in some stuff, kind of like for movement and things like that way, or anything you wanted the game object to do. So that's my plan for next. The stuff I need to add is making it so you can register specific joints to the Connect Manager, so the Connect Manager only gets the joints that you want. And then the only other thing would be then also to make like be able to use swipe gestures on stuff like that. So gestures that take a period of time to go off, not just instant. So yeah, I set up all the system for it. So now I can move into making the gestures more specific.